Israel stopped the entry of all goods and supplies into the Gaza Strip on Sunday and warned of additional consequences if Hamas doesn't accept a new proposal to extend what is a fragile ceasefire. Well, at the same time, key mediator Egypt is accusing Israel of using starvation as a weapon. In a video posted on X, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, quote, Hamas had also put forward positions for a permanent ceasefire that were totally unacceptable.
Israel has accepted President Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff's plan to extend the temporary ceasefire by 50 days. During that time, we can discuss the conditions for a permanent ceasefire that will end the war in Gaza. In Witkoff's plan, half of the hostages would be released right away, and the remaining half would be released if we reach an agreement on a permanent ceasefire. Again, Israel has accepted this plan, I accepted this plan, but so far, Hamas has rejected it. Hamas had also put forward positions for a permanent ceasefire that are totally unacceptable. Israel has decided to stop letting goods and supplies into Gaza, something we've done for the past 42 days. We've done that because Hamas steals the supplies and prevents the people of Gaza from getting them. It uses these supplies to finance its terror machine, which is aimed directly at Israel and our civilians, and this we cannot accept.
Hamas accused Israel of trying to derail the ceasefire agreement hours after its first phase ended. It called the decision to cut off aid, quote, cheap extortion, a war crime, and a blatant attack on the truce, which took hold in January after a year of negotiations. The first phase, which included a surge in humanitarian assistance after months of questions about food security in Gaza, expired on Saturday. The two sides have yet to negotiate the second phase, in which Hamas was to release dozens of remaining hostages in return for an Israeli pullout from Gaza and a lasting ceasefire. This morning, in a press briefing, the spokesperson for Netanyahu explained the justification for the withholding of aid.
Next on the hostage release framework, Hamas has refused to accept the Witkoff framework, to which Israel has actually agreed. There is plenty of food and supplies in Gaza. 4,200 trucks a week have gone in during this ceasefire, enough for many, many months. It is Hamas who is harming the Gazan population. Hamas systematically takes the humanitarian aid and sells it to support their own terror. For a year and a half now, Israel has sent in, but Hamas has betrayed. The supplies we sent were so that Hamas could be humanitarian, but instead they've in fact been barbarian. For years, concrete intended for homes was used to build terror tunnels. Fuel meant for ambulances was used in pickup trucks and motorbikes that broke into Israel and carried our kidnapped women and children into Gaza. Medicines have been used to drug our own hostages. Imagine that. Medicines we sent to help being used to drug our own people. Food intended for widespread distribution has been feeding the bellies of the guards that starve our own hostages, who emerge, our own hostages emerge looking like victims of the Holocaust. You've seen it with your own eyes. Look, get real. The aid we send is used to kill. No more. No free meal to those who kill. Israel will not allow the Hamas terrorist organization to continue the ceasefire under the conditions of the first stage without releasing our hostages.
Now, critics of the move to withhold aid have accused Israel of violating international law. This morning, in that press briefing, I asked the spokesperson for Mr. Netanyahu for his response to those accusations.
Next question from David Clement at the News Forum in Canada. Critics of the move to restrict aid have accused Israel of violating international law. What's the Prime Minister's office response to those allegations? Thank you for that question, David. I think I've just given a fairly detailed answer to that question. There is no breach of international law, including on the Geneva Convention. Hamas are using aid to fuel their own terror campaign against this country. They are already trying to fire rockets at us again. They've fallen inside Gaza this time. We will not allow them to use aid to threaten their own people and Israel as well.